My husband and I are noble green peacocks, yet I gave birth to a lowly white peacock. My husband, in a fit of rage, pierced me and the child right through and made us both into a bowl of bird meat fried rice. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day I chose my husband. Seeing my husband firmly seeking to marry my second-rank blue peacock sister, I knew she had also been reborn because in the previous life, after my sister married the blue peacock, she gave birth to a rare purple peacock. My husband thought that by marrying my sister, he could produce a purple peacock, but he didn't know he probably couldn't even produce the lowliest black peacock. The peacock clan has 6 colors in order: black, purple, green, blue, white, black. But currently, the noblest in the peacock clan is only the green peacock. So the king promised, whoever produced the noblest peacock with his daughter would inherit the throne. I am the king's most beloved little princess and his only green peacock daughter. So on the day I came of age, all the men in the kingdom gathered outside the palace to seek my hand. After many rounds of selection, I chose Qingshan, also a green peacock. The king was very satisfied with Qingshan. He was handsome and extraordinary and the #1 gentleman of the peacock clan. He was also the king's ideal heir. Just as he was about to announce the engagement on the spot, Qingshan stepped back and bowed to the king. Your Majesty, I am unwilling to marry the 6th princess. I seek to marry the 2nd princess, Marin. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone was shocked. Even Marin was surprised, but soon her face filled with joy. Marin is 10 years older than me, has remained unmarried to this day. It's all because my mother, the queen, was the only queen my father officially married, while her mother was a maidservant who used underhanded means to climb into my father's bed. So although Marin is also the king's daughter, few truly treated her as a princess and no one was willing to marry her. Everyone was utterly astonished as to why Qingshan, such a noble green peacock, would choose an ordinary blue peacock. Faced with Qingshan's choice, the king's face darkened. Nonsense. This is Jiaha's marriage selection ceremony. If you wish to seek Marin's hand, you may come to me privately. Now that you've come to the selection and Jiaha has chosen you, yet you spurn her. Where does that leave my daughter's dignity? Qingshan knelt directly. Your Majesty, it's not that I look down on Princess Jiaha, but because Princess Jiaha has misconduct by concealing her true identity as a black peacock and deceiving everyone. He pointed at me with righteous indignation. The entire venue fell silent instantly. Every face was etched with disbelief. What nonsense are you spouting? My Jiaha is no black peacock. Before the king could speak, the queen stepped forward directly. Is that so? Since the queen is so certain, how about letting Princess Jiaha reveal her true form for all to see? If Princess Jiaha is a green peacock, then I, Qingshan, will atone with my life. Qingshan looked at the queen with disdain. If not, then let Princess Jiaha atone with her life. How about it? The queen's face darkened. Her brows furrowed in worry. The king also shifted from shock to doubt. His face instantly sank. Compared to face, father valued lineage more than face. He is a green peacock, but his daughters are only ordinary blue peacocks. So, after I was born, hearing that my peacock color was noble, he gave me all his favor. Now, hearing Qingshan say that I am the lowest black peacock, he almost crushed the armrest of his chair. The queen couldn't say a word for a long time. Qingshan's expression shifted from contempt to smugness. It's just revealing your true form. That shouldn't be hard, right? For the queen to hesitate so much, could it be that I'm right? The queen's face grew even darker. Just as she was about to say something, I stepped directly in front of the queen and admitted openly, I am indeed not a green peacock. The queen cried out, Jiaha, how could you? The reason Qingshan made me reveal my true form is because he knew I wasn't a green peacock. In my past life, when I was giving birth, I revealed my true form due to complications. It startled Qingshan at the time because the outside world all said I was the only green peacock among father's daughters. So, Qingshan went to great lengths to marry me. Peacock eggs match the color of the peacock. So, after I laid a white egg, Qingshan grew furious. He not only smashed the egg directly, but also slit my throat while I was still in peacock form. Not only that, he plucked the feathers from my dying body and threw me into the back mountain. Many wild beasts live there. They devoured me. Good. 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 Qingshan stood up with a loud laugh, took off his ceremonial sword, and threw it at my feet. Since you've already admitted it, then please, princess, atone with your life. I said, but I admitted to not being a green peacock. What crime have I committed? When I was born, heaven showed strange signs. The entire peacock clan's sky was colorful. Everyone said I was a sign of good fortune. Only my mother, who gave birth to me, knew I was a dull, black egg. She drove away the crowd, wrapped the egg in cloth. On the day I hatched, only she saw my true form. From childhood to adulthood, I never admitted to being a green peacock. Before marrying Qingshan in my past life, I had asked him, told him I wasn't actually a green peacock. At that time, Qingshan said to me, he didn't mind. He loved me for who I was. I was moved by him, married him with joy. After marriage, I fulfilled my duties as a wife, but only when I was dying did I realize he thought I was testing him back then. So, he deliberately said that. Even if you never admitted to being a green peacock, you also never mentioned that your true form was a black peacock. You enjoyed all the royal wealth and honor. That is deceiving the people. Although there is no law forbidding black peacocks in the royal family since the third peacock king, whenever a black peacock appears in the royal family, they are all driven out. I was about to say I wasn't a black peacock either. Father spoke up, enough, Qingshan. Since you want to marry Marin, I will grant you both marriage. Qingshan knelt directly on the ground. Thank you, your majesty. Then how will Princess Jiahe be dealt with? This is my family matter. How long are you planning to meddle? Qingshan immediately understood the king's meaning. Your subject admits guilt. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, Qingshan pulled Marin away and left. As they passed me, Marin gave me a meaningful look. She whispered in my ear, now you've got what you deserve. After returning to the palace, father flew into a rage. He demanded to know why the Queen Mother and I had deceived him. I was about to tell him, although I'm not some green peacock, I certainly am not a black peacock either. When father waved his hand dismissively, from today onward, I have no daughter like you. After Marin's wedding next month, you will be banished from the palace. Father not only wanted to cast me out of the palace, but also placed the Queen Mother under house arrest. This news spread like wildfire, further confirming my identity as a black peacock. In just one day, I went from being adored by all to being scorned by everyone. My reputation grew worse and worse, and naturally, no man wanted to marry me anymore. I accepted all this calmly, spending my days either in my own room or running off to the library. One afternoon, the weather was clear and the sunlight was just right. I called for a maid and told her to watch from below as I transformed into my true form and flew into the sky, blocking out the sun. After a moment, I landed and reverted to human form. Princess, it's exactly as you said. When you spread your wings, your whole body is multicolored. Absolutely stunning. The maid praised me repeatedly. You are truly the most beautiful black peacock I have ever seen. I smiled gently. The maid's words confirmed my suspicions. I just had the maid return to my room to draw my original form. Then I heard a sneer. A black peacock is still a black peacock, no matter how beautiful. It's still the lowest in the peacock clan. After the incident, my palace became especially desolate. I guess only she would come to mock me. I looked up and saw Marin standing at the door in splendid attire because she had caught the eye of Qingshan, the first young master of the peacock clan. Marin had been basking in glory recently. Her food, clothing, and expenses were even more luxurious than mine. The once most favored princess, she finally seemed to hold her head high, swaggering around the palace. I heard that in her palace, several maids had gone missing without reason. Little sister, how can you still have the face to stay in the palace? Father gave you a 1-month deadline out of respect for your mother. If you know what's good for you, you should hurry up and stop disgracing the royal family. Marin never liked me when we were kids just because she was jealous of how favored I was. I sneered coldly. Second sister, why are you here? Are you looking for the maids from your palace? Then you've come to the wrong place. They should be in the mouths of the wild beasts on the back mountain. Second sister, wandering around like this, aren't you afraid those maids' spirits will come to take you away? Marin's face turned pale. She gritted her teeth and said, "What are you so smug about? You're nothing but the clan's abandoned piece now. And I'm about to marry Qingshan. He is the most noble green peacock. He said that our union might produce an extremely noble purple peacock." I gave her a cold look. Is that so? Congratulations. Congratulations. Then why don't you hurry up and go have children with Qingshan? But I need to remind you, Qingshan doesn't look like he can bear children. How dare you insult my husband? I'll scream. Marin raised her hand high and struck me directly, but she could never beat me since childhood. This time, she only ended up being pinned down by me. Before I could slap her a few times, I was pulled away by a huge force. Qingshan appeared. Who allowed you to bully Marin? When Marin saw Qingshan appear, she instantly transformed into a delicate little sister, leaning her whole body against him. Pointing at me, she said in a sweet voice, "Qingshan, you're finally here." She cursed me for not being able to bear your child. How could that be? You will surely give me a perfect purple peacock. Qingshan gently stroked her face. As for her, I'm afraid in this life, she can't even give birth to a white peacock. When I heard that, I couldn't help letting out a haw. Who knows who can't bear children? Qingshan's face turned cold. Qingshan has a secret only I know, that is, he is infertile. In my past life, after I found out, I thought I'd say not having children was fine. As long as the two of us loved each other, nothing else would be a problem. But Qingshan didn't think that way. To get the throne, he begged me to drink a fertility potion that could make one conceive. After taking that potion, it would absorb one's own inner core. It would drain all the essence from the body. That's why I reverted to my original form during childbirth. Not only that, using this potion also had severe side effects. Headaches were the least of it. The hardest to bear was the itching all over. That itch wasn't on the skin. It was deep in the bones. No matter how I scratch, I can't get to it. Perhaps afraid I'd say more, Qingshan directly left with Marin. After they left, the maid came out with the finished portrait. The moment I saw the portrait, my pupils dilated. This painting completely confirmed my suspicions. I've been searching for books in the library these days. Ancient records state the mysterious peacock is naturally black, but under sunlight, it appears in 5 colors. After a mysterious peacock takes the fertility drug, the egg it lays is white. When the egg breaks, it becomes purple. So, I'm not a black peacock at all, but the legendary mysterious peacock. My egg isn't from a white peacock. It's a high-level purple peacock. Since nobody has ever seen a mysterious peacock, Qingshan simply didn't know what he had. After learning this, I didn't tell anyone. Now everyone looks down on me. Even if I told them, nobody would believe me. To prove myself, I'd have to lay an egg and hatch it. But where can I find someone to lay an egg with? My reputation is already ruined. Any decent peacock would never lay an egg with me. No other choice. I had to go to the black market and buy a husband. Picking and choosing, I finally picked a pleasing one from a group of men. His appearance was strikingly dazzling. Too bad he's just a colorful chicken. No matter. Ancient books record, no matter what bird a mysterious peacock mates with, it can produce auspicious offspring above purple peacock level. As long as my genes are there, the child can't go wrong. The first day I brought the man home, I started stripping his clothes off. The man's ears turned bright red. He clutched his own clothes tightly. Princess, don't we need to build some chemistry first before doing this kind of thing? Build chemistry? That's too much trouble. I let go. Smiling, I looked at him. How do you think we should build it? At least we should get to know each other first. Oh. I sat back down. My name is Jaha. What's yours? Yuli. All right. Done getting to know each other. I pounced on him directly. Time to get down to business. Even though Yuli still felt we didn't know each other well enough, he didn't push me away this time. While saying, "Princess, no," he reached into my clothes. After the first time, Yuli took the lead. He gripped my waist, going at it again and again. After several times, I couldn't take it anymore. Yuli, let's get to know each other some more next time. A soft laugh sounded in my ear. The candlelight in the room flickered brightly, rising and falling with the light. Half a month later, Qingshan and Marin's wedding ceremony was held on time. That day, the palace was completely covered in red. Qingshan's proposal procession was grand and impressive. I had planned to leave the palace today, but someone came from Marin's palace saying they were short-handed and asked me to go attend to her. When I arrived, Marin had already put on her wedding dress. She asked me to hold up her headpiece until my arms got sore. She still didn't say to put it on. I was about to set the headpiece aside when I heard Marin say, "Sixth sister, my crown was personally crafted by Qingshan. He worked on it with pure gold for 3 days and 3 nights. So, you must protect it well for me." Her every word was a boast aimed at me. I didn't respond. She spoke again. "I heard you brought a chicken back. Sixth sister, you've fallen so low. Even though you're a black peacock, you were still a princess once. You can't just settle for a chicken." The moment she said that, everyone around laughed. I couldn't take it anymore. "Second sister's lesson is well taken, but second sister, why have you been scratching non-stop? Did you eat something you shouldn't have?" Her smug smile froze instantly. "Ever since I walked in just now, Marin has been scratching all over. When she raised her hand earlier, I saw her fair arms covered in scratch marks. Qingshan must have coaxed her into taking the fertility potion. What I eat is none of your business. Do you think you're still the exalted princess? You're nothing but a maid serving me now." I smiled and shrugged. People lose it when you hit a nerve. It's really boring. Afterward, I followed Marin to bid farewell to Father King. Mother Queen was confined. No one sat beside Father King. Just as Marin bowed, she couldn't help but vomit uncontrollably. Watching her retch like that, I felt affected, too. Sourness surged up repeatedly and I started vomiting as well. People quickly called for the imperial physician. After the diagnosis, the physician bowed to Father King. "Congratulations, Your Majesty. Both princesses are pregnant." Hearing that she was, Marin's eyes lit up. I stared at my own belly in a daze. Is it really that easy? In my past life, I waited so long to have my own baby. Just then, the royal advisor rushed in from outside. Congratulations, Your Majesty. Blessings, Your Majesty. He knelt on the ground and exclaimed loudly, Your Majesty, I just saw an unusual sign in the southeast. Observing indications of a phoenix's arrival. What? You mean a phoenix? Father stood up excitedly. We peacocks are descendants of the phoenix, but in the war hundreds of years ago, the true phoenix had already been wiped out. Yes, that's right. This sign matches exactly what is recorded in the books. Someone is pregnant with a phoenix. The royal advisor beamed with joy. You mean Marin is pregnant with a phoenix? At that moment, Qingshan strode in with big steps. Father and the others successfully shifted their attention to Marin. Could it really be that Marin is carrying a phoenix? Then Father quickly sent someone to inquire if any other peacocks were expecting today. After making the rounds of inquiries, they found that only Marin and I had conceived today. Upon hearing this news, they became even more certain that Marin's belly held a phoenix because they believed that I, a black peacock, could never give birth to a phoenix. Marin was instantly surrounded, praised to the point where she felt elated. I took the chance to leave when I heard Marin speak. Father, since your daughter is now with child, I'd like to ask for a favor. Father, thinking Marin truly carried a phoenix, agreed outright. What do you desire? I want Sixth Sister to stay by my side. Marin said with a worried look. Father, Sixth Sister is of noble birth. After you drive her out of the palace, how will she manage to live? Why not let her stay by my side as a maid? Sounds nice, but in essence, she just wants to humiliate me. Keeping me by her side is likely just to watch me suffer, to see me, the once proud sixth princess, now grovel before her, at her mercy. I spoke up, my voice icy cold, without a hint of yielding. I refuse. You wretch, it's not your place to say yes or no. Father slammed his hand on the dragon throne, his face blazing with rage. The air in the hall instantly froze. His gaze pierced into me like a knife. It's settled. From now on, you will stay by Marin's side and serve her. Reflect on your own mistakes. If you dare to disobey in the slightest, don't blame me for being heartless. I clenched my fists, my nails digging deep into my flesh. The chill in my heart surged up layer by layer. I was utterly unwilling to follow Marin back to Qingshan Manor. That mansion, to me, was a hell from my past life, a burial ground. How could I ever step foot in it again? I looked up, meeting Father's eyes, my words clear and distinct. I directly talked back to him twice. Father, if you want to drive me out of the palace, I accept it. This is your rule, after all. I have nothing to say. But making me her maid, don't even think about it. Even if I, Jaha, am cast out of the palace and end up on the streets, I will never stoop to serve others or be a beast of burden for a malicious person. How dare you talk back? My father, the king, turned pale with rage and abruptly stood up. His oppressive aura spread out, making me almost lose my footing. His face darkened and he said, word by word, since you're so unwilling, then you don't have to go. But the man in your palace will certainly not leave. I want to see whether your pride is harder or the life of the one you care about is tougher. Hearing this, I trembled all over and abruptly stopped in my tracks. It felt like my blood had frozen in that moment. Yuli, the man I brought back from the black market, with his gentle features, he is innocent. I cannot let my stubbornness make him pay the price. My father knows me too well. He knows I am now alone, and my only weakness is this person who stays by my side without any complaint, Yuli. I turned to look back. My father sat on the dragon throne, his eyes icy cold without a trace of father-daughter affection. In his eyes, I could see no sign of the love he once had, only interests and exploitation. Only then did I understand why my mother, the queen, had to go to great lengths to conceal the fact that I am not a green peacock. Why she would rather risk the crime of deceiving the king to protect me. A ruler so obsessed with gain and indifferent to bonds, with eyes only for lineage and power. If he had known back then that I was not the green peacock he longed for, I'm afraid the moment I hatched, he would have disposed of me right there in the hall. How could there be the countless affections that came later? My heart was filled with despair, as if thrown into an icy cold pool. Even my breath carried a piercing pain. I looked at my father's indifferent face and thought of Yuli waiting for me at the residence. In the end, I bowed my back that had never bent before. My voice hoarse, carrying endless reluctance, I agree. Word by word, as if I had used all my strength and crushed the last shred of my pride. Seeing my compromise, the anger on my father's face eased slightly. He merely waved his hand and said impatiently, "Since you've agreed, pack your things immediately and follow Marin back to the residence. Remember your identity. From now on, you are merely a maid by Marin's side. If you dare to overstep even a little, don't blame me for forgetting our father-daughter bond." Marin stood by the side, a smug smile curling at the corners of her mouth, her eyes full of mockery and schadenfreude. She stepped forward, reached out and patted my cheek. Her tone light and mean. "Sixth sister, if you had been this obedient earlier, it would have been better. Had to be stubborn. In the end, you still have to listen to me. Let's go. Don't make me and Qingshan wait too long." Her fingers carried a cold touch, like a snake's tongue gliding over my skin. I suppressed the hatred in my heart, didn't raise my hand to push hers away, just stared at her coldly without saying a word. After moving to Qingshan's residence with Yuli, life was even harder than I imagined. I suppose it was to be expected. Marin had always resented me. Now that I've fallen from grace, became her maidservant, how could she possibly treat me well? The side courtyard of Qingshan Mansion was where Yuli and I lived. It was a corner that never saw sunlight. The weeds in the yard grew taller than a person. The furnishings in the room were shabby and worn. The tables and chairs were thick with dust. There wasn't even a decent bed, only a cold wooden plank covered with a thin layer of rice straw. Marin seemed to think this still wasn't enough. She specifically ordered the mansion steward to assign the dirtiest and most tiring tasks all to me. Before dawn, I had to get up to fetch water, chop firewood, and sweep every courtyard in the mansion. I also had to help wash vegetables in the kitchen, cook and wash dishes. All the miscellaneous chores in the mansion were almost entirely handled by me alone. Those heavy tasks I had never even touched before, but now I had to do them every day. Within 3 days, my palms were covered in dense blisters. The blisters broke and healed and broke again, until thick calluses formed. It hurt so much that even holding chopsticks was a struggle. Seeing my fall from grace, the servants in the mansion all joined in to kick me when I was down. They ordered me around daily and deliberately made things difficult. Sometimes they would secretly skimp on my meals, leaving me hungry. Once, the kitchen maid deliberately splashed dishwater on me and yelled loudly, "A lowly black peacock, a worthless black peacock, doesn't deserve to eat in this mansion. You're just dirtying the grounds of our Qingshan mansion." I clenched my fists, wanting to argue back, but I remembered Father King's words, remembered Yuli left in the side courtyard, and in the end, I held back, silently wiping away the water stains on me. I continued washing the dishes. Luckily, Yuli stayed by my side all along, never uttering a single complaint. Seeing how hard I worked every day, he would always, when I wasn't looking, secretly help me with all sorts of chores. When I carried water, he would snatch my bucket and stride briskly toward the well. When I chopped firewood, he would pick up the axe and chop stroke after stroke. His movements were not skillful, but exceptionally earnest. When I swept the courtyard, he would take a broom and follow behind me, silently clearing the fallen leaves I had swept. He would also sneak to the kitchen, using his own saved spare coins to buy some rice, flour, and meat. On the small stove in the side courtyard, he would cook me all sorts of delicious food. His culinary skills were excellent. A simple bowl of plain noodles, he made it fresh and flavorful. An ordinary piece of pork belly, he could stew it until tender and savory. Every time I dragged my tired body back to the side courtyard, I could always smell the aroma of food filling the yard. Seeing him holding steaming dishes, smiling as he said to me, "Your Highness, eat up quickly to nourish your body." That one day, I had been busy all day, so exhausted I had no strength to even lift my hand. When I returned to the side courtyard, I saw Yuli sitting under the lamp, bowing his head to embroider for me. His fingers were slender, holding an embroidery needle clumsily yet earnestly on the cloth, embroidering a peacock flower. The lamplight fell on his profile, softened his brows and eyes, and warmed my cold heart. I walked over to him and sat down gently. My heart suddenly clenched. I reached out and touched his face. My voice choked with emotion. "Yuli, I'm sorry you have to suffer with me. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't be living in a place like this and during such hardship." Yuli put down the embroidery needle, looked up at me, his eyes full of tenderness. He took my hand and gently shook his head. "Princess, what are you saying? When I was in the black market, my life was much harder than this. I didn't have enough to eat or wear and I was bullied, too. Living in constant fear every day. Now, following the princess, I have food to eat, a place to live and the princess by my side. To me, this is already a blessing." He was just too gentle, too kind, making my guilt even deeper. I leaned in and kissed his forehead. His ears instantly turned bright red, like ripe cherries. Yuli reached out and hugged me, burying his head in the crook of my neck. His voice low and gentle. "Princess, I never thought there would be a day like this when someone I could cherish with all my heart and a home I could rely on. Now, with you and our child, I'm not afraid of anything anymore. What about your family?" I gently patted his back and couldn't help asking. From beginning to end, I never heard him mention his own family. It was as if he had appeared out of nowhere in the black market with no ties or worries. Yuli's body stiffened slightly and after a long silence, he finally said in a low voice, "I don't know. When I woke up, I was already in the black market." My mind was blank. I couldn't remember anything. It was as if I had lost all my memories. I felt as if I had lived for a very, very long time. So long that I had forgotten time. Yet, I also felt like a child, not even knowing who I was. That night, Yuli told me a lot about his days in the black market. He said he had no magic, didn't know how to fight, only knew how to read and write. So, he wasn't well liked in the black market and was often bullied and robbed of his meager food. He said he didn't like the night because there were many people in the black market at night. Most were families gathered together, eating simple meals, and saying warm words. That kind of warmth was something he had never felt. Every time he saw it, it left him feeling empty inside. He rambled on about many things, his tone flat, as if he were telling someone else's story, but it made my heart ache. I held him tightly, wishing I could give him all my warmth. Finally, I grew sleepy from listening. I kissed him on the lips and said softly, "Don't be sad. From now on, I am your family, and so will our children be. We will always be with you, never letting you be alone again." Yuli tightened his arms around me, nuzzling into my neck without a word, but I could feel his body trembling. I could feel his warm tears falling on my neck. Compared to my hard days in Qingshan Mansion, Marin was living like a fairy. As the mistress of Qingshan Mansion, and in the eyes of the king, the honored one carrying the phoenix, everyone in the mansion dared not disrespect her. She wore silks and satins. Her clothes were all woven from the most precious cloud brocade of the Peacock clan, embroidered with golden phoenixes, dazzling and brilliant. She slept on a jade bed crafted from Tianxin jade. That jade bed could adjust its temperature, heating up or cooling down on its own, warm in winter and cool in summer, extremely comfortable. The tonics in the mansion flowed into her room like water. Thousand-year ginseng, century-old snow lotus, premium bird's nest, everything you could imagine. All the most precious nourishments of the peacock clan. Qingshan doted on her meticulously, granting almost every request. After leaving court each day, he would rush back to the mansion immediately to accompany Marin, asking after her with concern, afraid she might suffer the slightest grievance. The servants in the mansion dared not slack off, obeying her every word, fearing that one careless move might displease her and cost them their lives. Yet even so, Marin's days were not all that comfortable. As time went on, the side effects of the pregnancy curse gradually worsened. The bone-deep ache tormented her relentlessly. She could no longer wear fine silks and satins because the soft fabrics against her skin only made the ache worse. She spent nearly every day naked, soaking in cold water, trying to ease the ache with ice-cold water. But the ache was in her bones, and the cold water did nothing. Later, she came up with an extreme method. She had people bring the hottest chili peppers, ground them into powder, and rubbed it all over her body, using the burn to mask the ache. Each time she applied it, she would tremble in pain and scream at the top of her lungs. Yet, even so, she refused to stop because only this way could she temporarily forget the gnawing ache. As for the precious tonics, she couldn't even swallow a single bite. The pregnancy curse had another side effect. It made her lose her appetite. At the sight of any food, she would feel nauseous. Even the finest delicacies tasted like sawdust to her. But Qingshan forced her to eat. He was determined to make her give birth to a phoenix to claim the Peacock clan's throne. How could he allow her to skip the tonics? Whenever Marin refused to eat, Qingshan would have the tonics boiled into a paste, pinch her chin, and shove handfuls of the tonic straight into her mouth, forcing her to swallow. Marin's tears were often squeezed out by him, crying and retching at the same time. But Qingshan showed no mercy. He just stared at her coldly and said, "If you starve my son or affect the phoenix's birth, I will not spare you." Marin's body, under the side effects of pregnancy and Qingshan's coercion, grew worse and worse. Her face was pale as paper, and her figure grew increasingly thin. Her once charming appearance had long since vanished, leaving only exhaustion and resentment in her eyes. She took out all her anger on me, often finding fault with me for no reason. At the slightest displeasure, she would hit and scold me. Sometimes she would make me kneel in the courtyard for hours on end, regardless of wind or rain. Yuli, seeing me bullied, always wanted to protect me, but he had no magic and was no match for Marin and the household servants. He was always pushed to the ground and even injured. Watching him get hurt for me, my hatred grew even stronger. Yet, I also understood more clearly that now I had to endure. I had to wait for my child to be born and for the day I could prove my identity. I would make Marin and Qingshan pay the price they deserved. Thus, 2 months passed. Marin's and my bellies grew increasingly round and the day of delivery drew nearer. The egg-laying day for the Peacock clan varies from person to person, but Marin and I happened to be on the same day. It seemed like a contest ordained by heaven, a contest of lineage and dignity. On the day of laying the eggs, the sky again showed strange signs with multicolored clouds spreading across the sky and hundreds of birds circling around Qingshan's mansion chirping clearly. That sight was exactly the same as when I was born, utterly stunning. Now, everyone was even more certain that among the 2 eggs Marin and I were to lay, one of them must surely be a phoenix. The servants in the mansion were thrown into chaos. Qingshan even summoned the most renowned midwife of the Peacock clan to stand guard outside Marin's delivery room. By my side, there was only a flustered Yuli, not a single helper. Marin's delivery room was set up in the most luxurious main courtyard of the mansion. Inside, soft brocade bedding was laid out and calming incense was burning. Qingshan stood outside the delivery room pacing anxiously, his face full of anticipation. My delivery room was that shabby little hut in the side courtyard. There wasn't even a clean mat inside, only the straw that Yuli had hastily laid out. The cold stone floor radiated a bone-chilling cold. The process of laying the egg was excruciatingly painful, even harder to endure than when I gave birth to Kifu in my past life. Though I had never experienced the side effects of giving birth to a child, the hardship of carrying an egg was no less. The egg in my belly felt as heavy as 1,000 pounds, pressing down on me until I could barely breathe. Waves of intense pain struck me, making me sweat all over. I nearly fainted. Yuli stayed by my side, holding my hands tightly, constantly wiping the sweat off me. His voice filled with anxiety and concern. "Princess, bear with it. It will be over soon. I'm right here with you. Don't be afraid." His hand was warm and strong, giving me endless strength. I clenched my teeth, using all my strength. After a heart-wrenching burst of pain, I finally laid the egg. The princess has given birth. Yuli's voice was filled with excitement. He carefully picked up the egg, holding it in his hands, as if cradling a rare treasure. Everyone in the mansion was convinced that Marin was carrying the phoenix. So, at the moment I gave birth, they all swarmed to the outside of Marin's delivery room, waiting for the phoenix egg to arrive. By my side, from start to finish, there was only Yuli. I lay on the bed, exhausted and powerless. Looking up, Yuli was carefully holding a black egg. The egg was pitch black, without a hint of luster. In the sunlight, it only gave off a faint matte sheen, looking utterly ordinary, even somewhat ugly. Black, huh? I stared at the egg. My mind went blank. A trace of disappointment washed over me. I had originally thought, with my lineage as a mystic peacock, the egg I carried, even if not a phoenix, should have been a noble purple peacock. But I never expected. It turned out to be a black egg, exactly like the one I hatched from. Then I thought, wasn't I also once a dull, lusterless black egg? Yet I am the legendary mystic peacock. So, by that logic, I should be carrying a mystic peacock, too. If that's the case, could Marin really be carrying a phoenix? I suddenly felt a pang of disappointment. The hope in my heart felt like cold water had been poured on it. In my past life, I was schemed against by Qingshan and Marin, ending in a miserable fate. In this life, I have endured until now. I had hoped to rely on my own child to slap their faces hard and make them pay for everything they had done. But now, am I really going to let Marin get her wish and give birth to a phoenix to ascend to that supreme position? This disappointment caught Yuli's eye. He thought I was sad because of the egg's color and quickly handed the egg to me. "Princess, are you upset? This egg may be black, but it is still our baby, the fruit of our love. No matter what color it is, we must love it well and protect it." I looked into his hopeful eyes and saw in them unconcealed love and tenderness. Suddenly, I realized I had truly been wrong. At first, I wanted to give birth to a phoenix to prove my identity, to slap those people's faces, but I forgot that whether my child is a phoenix, a dark peacock, or an ordinary peacock, it is still my child, the child of me and Yuli, the precious baby I struggled to bring into the world. How could I feel disappointed because of its color? I reached out and held the egg in my arms. The egg felt warm to the touch. Through the shell, I could almost feel the little life beating inside. I lowered my head and gave the shell a big kiss. My eyes were full of tenderness. Yes, this is our baby, my most precious treasure. I will protect it well, spare no effort to keep it safe. Soon after I gave birth, the courtyard erupted with cheers from the crowd. The cheers were deafening, almost lifting the entire Qingshan mansion. I didn't even need to go outside to see, for someone was already shouting loudly out there. "She's given birth." The lady gave birth to a golden egg, shimmering with gold. It must be a phoenix egg. "Congratulations, master." "Congratulations, madam." The cheers grew louder and louder, mingled with Qingshan's loud laughter and the flattery of the crowd. Those sounds were like needles piercing into my heart, but I no longer felt any disappointment. I just held the black egg tightly in my arms, my heart full of resolve. In comparison, my baby seemed not so welcome. No one cheered for him. No one celebrated for him. No one even wanted to give him a second glance. But what did that matter? I am his mother. Yuli is his father. We will spend our entire lives loving him and protecting him. That is enough. I held the egg tightly in my arms and whispered in my heart, "Baby, don't be afraid. Mother loves you and will always love you." According to the Peacock clan's customs, all peacock eggs must be sent to the clan's ancestral hall for incubation. The ancestral hall is the sacred place of the Peacock clan where the spirit tablets of past peacock kings are enshrined. It is perpetually filled with abundant spiritual energy, which not only helps the peacock eggs better absorb spiritual energy, speeding up incubation, but also allows the ancestors to witness the new birth, praying for the newborn peacock chick. The news that Marin laid a golden egg quickly spread throughout the entire Peacock clan. Everyone was convinced it was a phoenix egg. So when Qingshan and Marin took the golden egg to the ancestral hall, the procession was grand with a large entourage following. The king even personally sent guards to escort them with gongs and drums beating all the way, looking very impressive. And I, holding the black egg in my arms, accompanied by Yuli, silently followed at the very end of the procession, like an irrelevant passerby. Along the way, everyone pointed fingers at me, whispering to each other, their eyes full of mockery and contempt. "Look, that's the sixth princess. She laid a blak egg. How embarrassing. A lowly black peacock. What good could she possibly produce? Just a black egg. Who knows if when it hatches, it will also be a lowly black peacock. Compared to the second princess's phoenix egg, this black egg is simply trash. Does it even deserve to enter the ancestral hall? It's defiling the hall's spiritual energy." Those words pierced my heart like needles, but I only held the black egg tighter in my arms, looking straight ahead, walking step by step toward the ancestral hall. I knew arguing with words was meaningless. Only strength, only results could silence everyone. The ancestral hall was solemn and dignified, filled with swirling incense smoke and abundant spiritual energy. In a corner of the ancestral hall, I found a small spot for my peacock egg. That spot was far from the main altar. It never sees sunlight throughout the year. Yet, it is the quietest spot in the entire shrine. I gently placed the egg on the laid-out brocade. Lowering my head, I looked at it tenderly and whispered softly, "My baby, hatch well right here. Mother will come to see you every day." Just as I finished placing the egg and was about to stand up, the shrine's doors were pushed open. A grand crowd of people walked in. Qingshan and Marin, surrounded by the crowd, walked at the very front, radiating confidence and pride. Marin wore splendid attire, a phoenix crown adorned with pearls and jewels on her head, her face full of smug smiles, as if she were already the queen of the Peacock clan, the mother of the phoenix. Qingshan walked beside her, equally beaming with joy. His gaze swept across the shrine, finally landing on my black egg placed in the corner, his eyes full of contempt. Marin followed his gaze. Seeing my black egg, her face showed a mocking expression. She stepped forward, looking down at me from a height, with a harsh tone, "Oh, sixth sister, I didn't expect you'd actually dare to bring this black egg to the shrine. Can eggs of any color enter the shrine now? Aren't you afraid of offending the ancestors' eyes and defiling the shrine's spiritual energy?" Her attendants chimed in one after another, bursting into cheers. The laughter in the quiet shrine was especially jarring. "Exactly. Madam, this black egg is fit for the shrine? Placed alongside your phoenix egg, it's practically an insult to the phoenix egg. In my opinion, this black egg should just be thrown out. Just feed it to the dogs. Save us the trouble of looking at it. An egg laid by a lowly black peacock, what good could come of it? It might not even hatch. Even if it does hatch, it'll be a waste." After Marin gave birth, she thought she was carrying a phoenix egg. Her status instantly soared. Even the way she walked exuded an arrogant pride. But she still looked very weak, pale-faced, with unfocused eyes. The side effects of the childbirth drug after giving birth became even more intense. So even while mocking me, her hands couldn't stop scratching her body. Her nails scraped across her skin, leaving bright red scratch marks. I looked up at her, my voice calm, without a hint of emotion. The Peacock clan's ancestral hall doesn't seem to have ever had a rule against black eggs entering. The ancestral hall is the clan's sacred place, where past ancestors are enshrined. All Peacock clan children have the right to hatch here, regardless of status, regardless of color. A black egg like you dares to compare itself to my phoenix egg? Marin was provoked by my words. Her face instantly darkened. She pointed at the black egg in my arms and snapped, "Get this black egg out of here now. Don't let it dirty the spot of my phoenix egg." As she spoke, Marin reached out, trying to snatch my black egg and smash it to the ground. She had long disliked me. Now she wished nothing more than to rid herself of me and my child together. I took a step back, dodged her hand. Just as I was about to make a move to teach this arrogant woman a lesson, Qingshan stepped forward and stopped her. I was a bit puzzled. In my past life, Qingshan hated me to the bone. In this life, he was even more devoted to Marin. Why would he suddenly speak up for me now? Qingshan glanced at me contemptuously, a mocking smile curling at the corner of his mouth. All right, Marin. Don't stoop to her level. Just let her leave that black egg here. Just as I was bewildered, Qingshan continued, by rights, your egg will hatch on the same day as our phoenix egg. Now, word from the heavens says the fire god, Lord Vermilion Bird, will personally come to witness the phoenix's arrival. When that time comes, your black egg, before the fire god and the many beast kings, will surely be a huge embarrassment. I want to see how you, this lowly black peacock, can still have any face to stand before everyone. He smirked smugly, his eyes full of scheming and schadenfreude. So, he wasn't speaking up for me, but wanted me to make a complete fool of myself before the fire god and all the beast kings, to become the laughingstock of the Peacock clan. I looked at his smug face and sneered inwardly, but I had long stopped caring about such things. The gazes of others, the mockery of others, to me are nothing but fleeting clouds. I only care about my child. As long as my child can hatch safely, nothing else matters. I said calmly, then let's wait and see. It takes 20 days to hatch. These 20 days for the entire Peacock clan were incredibly long and full of anticipation because it was confirmed that the fire god, Lord Suzaku, would personally come to witness the phoenix's arrival. During this time, the entire royal city was on high alert. My father even ordered the royal city to be sealed off with increased guards, forbidding anyone from entering or leaving freely for fear of disturbing the phoenix. Plus, Marin's condition was worsening day by day. The side effects of the childbirth drug had already seeped into her bones. She was tormented by a bone-piercing chill all day and had no mind for anything else. Every day, she just wanted to soak in piles of chili peppers, using the heat to ease the chill, neglecting even eating and sleeping. Naturally, she had no time to bother me anymore. For me, this kind of life was a rare moment of peace. So, I went to the ancestral hall every day to watch over our black egg, talking to it and singing Peacock clan lullabies, using my own spiritual energy to carefully nurture it. Yuli would also accompany me. He would sit to the side and softly read books to me and the child. His gentle voice was especially heartwarming in the quiet ancestral hall. After discussing it with Yuli, we decided to name our child Kifu, wishing him a lifetime of peace and smooth sailing, free from disasters and hardships, blessed by the heavens, and treated kindly by everyone. Soon, the 20-day deadline arrived. The day of the phoenix's arrival finally came. On this day, the entire Peacock clan erupted in excitement. Every street and alley in the royal city was decorated with lanterns and banners, with drums and gongs resounding. All the Peacock people surged towards the ancestral hall to witness the sacred moment of the phoenix's arrival. Lord Vermilion Bird, the fire god, also arrived on time. He wore a fiery red robe, surrounded by blazing flames, with an imposing aura and overwhelming pressure. As soon as he appeared, he made everyone kneel and salute. Father stood beside Lord Vermilion Bird, his face full of fawning smiles, endlessly uttering flattering words, trying to win the fire god's favor. Qingshan and Marin stood next to the main seat in the ancestral hall, the most smug. They held their heads high, accepting the worship of everyone, as if they were already the king and queen of the peacock tribe. Yuli and I stood in the farthest corner of the crowd, silently watching all of this, holding the black egg of Kifu tightly in our arms, our hearts full of anticipation. The ancestral hall was packed with people, not only with peacock tribe members, but also with beast kings from other tribes, all drawn by the reputation, eager to catch a glimpse of the phoenix. Everyone's gaze was fixed tightly on the golden egg on the main seat, their eyes full of anticipation and reverence. Time passed little by little. Finally, after a solemn bell tolled, the golden egg finally showed signs of movement. On the eggshell, fine cracks appeared one after another. Golden light spilled out from the cracks, lighting up the entire ancestral hall. It's cracking! It's cracking! The phoenix egg is cracking! Marin screamed in excitement, her voice trembling, her eyes wild with joy. Everyone's gaze turned in unison towards the golden egg on the platform, holding their breath, waiting for the sacred moment of the phoenix's arrival. In no time at all, the golden egg completely cracked open. A flash of golden light swept through. Everyone looked closely, only to see a black peacock with a single leg crawling out from the eggshell. That black peacock was pitch black all over. Its feathers were messy, with only one leg, standing on the platform, swaying unsteadily, unable to even stand firmly, looking ugly and pitiful, not a trace of a phoenix in sight. Seeing this scene, the air in the hall instantly fell silent. Even a pin drop could be heard clearly. Everyone was stunned, faces full of shock and disbelief. The anticipation in their eyes instantly turned to disappointment. Marin's smile froze on her face. She staggered back a step, unbelievably staring at the one-legged black peacock on the platform, her voice trembling with a sob. How? How could this be? Where is my phoenix? Where did my phoenix go? This is not my child. This is not. Qingshan's face instantly turned as black as a pot bottom. He stared at the one-legged black peacock on the platform, his eyes full of fury and disbelief. His entire aura turned icy and piercing. The air around him seemed to freeze. The fire god Vermilion Bird stood up directly from his seat, flames blazing fiercely around him. His gaze sharp as he looked at the king and demanded harshly, "Is this the phoenix you spoke of? Is this the phoenix that made me come here specially to see? Isn't this just a crippled black peacock? Peacock King, how dare you deceive me?" The Father King had originally hoped to use this phoenix's arrival to curry favor with the fire god Vermilion Bird so that after his death, he could ascend to heaven and become an immortal, enjoying eternal wealth and glory, but never expected such a thing to happen. He trembled all over in fear and quickly fell to his knees, kowtowing repeatedly. "Fire god, please calm your anger. Something must have gone wrong. It must be a mistake. Please take another good look. Maybe this isn't just an ordinary peacock. Perhaps the phoenix hasn't fully transformed yet." The Father King's endless babbling gave the fire god Vermilion Bird a terrible headache. He gave a cold snort, his anger growing even stronger. "What do you mean? Do you think I would be mistaken? I am a descendant of the phoenix. How could I fail to recognize one? This is just an ordinary one-legged black peacock, even inferior to the lowest black peacock. Peacock King, you are incredibly audacious to dare use a one-legged black peacock to impersonate a phoenix and mock me." Having said that, the fire god Vermilion Bird turned and walked away, clearly furious to the extreme. Seeing this, the Father King quickly scrambled to his feet and chased after him, apologizing incessantly as he ran, trying to salvage the situation. Seeing Qingshan look as if struck by lightning, standing frozen in place, his face ashen gray, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. He valued lineage above all in his life. He valued lineage above all in his life and despised black peacocks the most. Now, the phoenix egg he so eagerly desired had hatched into a one-legged black peacock and was being watched by so many. Rebuked by the fire god vermilion bird, truly a complete loss of face. What a delight! Qingshan heard my laughter, jerked his head up to look at me, his eyes full of resentment and anger. He gritted his teeth and said, "Jiahe, what do you have to be happy about? Even if what I hatched is a black peacock, it's still a peacock, a child of our peacock clan. Look at your egg, all black and dark, just like a chicken egg. Who knows when it hatches, it might not even be a peacock, just a lowly." No sooner had he spoken, suddenly, from a corner of the ancestral hall, a dazzling golden light burst forth. That golden light was even more brilliant, even more dazzling than the glow of the previous golden egg. In an instant, it illuminated the entire hall, even outshining the flames around the fire god vermilion bird. This light caught everyone's attention, even the furious, about to leave fire god vermilion bird, stopped in his tracks and turned to look back. Qingshan's jaw hadn't even closed yet, his eyes wide as saucers, his face full of disbelief. I saw my black egg slowly rise into the air, the cracks on its shell gradually widening, golden light spilling from the cracks, wrapping around the pitch-black shell. Soon, the shell completely split open and a golden phoenix burst out from within. Its feathers looked as if forged from pure gold, glistening in the sunlight. Its tail feathers spread out, a riot of colors, dazzling and brilliant. It let out a clear, piercing cry. That cry, piercing through the clouds, reverberating across the heavens and earth. A phoenix, this is a true phoenix. The fire god Zhuke shouted excitedly. His eyes were filled with ecstasy. He strode forward quickly, gazing at the golden phoenix in the sky, his eyes full of awe and excitement. His shout snapped everyone back to their senses instantly. Everyone came to their senses, staring at the dazzling golden phoenix in the sky, their eyes full of shock and reverence. The phoenix is the leader of all birds, the sovereign of all beasts. Once the phoenix appears, all birds must submit, all beasts must bow down. Except for the fire god Zhuke, me and Yuli, everyone in the shrine fell to their knees in unison, facing the golden phoenix in the sky. They shouted in unison, "Welcome, our king." The sound spread from within and outward, growing more and more immense, louder and louder, shaking the entire shrine. My little phoenix, Kifu, circled a few times above the shrine. Wherever its wings swept, golden light shimmered, shedding pieces of golden feathers. After those feathers landed, they instantly turned into specks of golden light, melting into the earth, nourishing the shrine's spiritual energy. Finally, Kifu slowly descended before me, gently landing in front of me, using its soft head, gently nuzzling my palm. Its eyes full of dependence and affection. After a moment, it transformed into a human infant, wrapped in a golden swaddle, as delicate as jade, as smooth as porcelain, utterly adorable, fell into my arms. After feeling my warmth, he yawned, then fell into a deep sleep. The phoenix fell asleep, the pressure around it also disappeared. Only then did people dare to slowly rise, but their gazes toward me were full of awe and disbelief. Gone was any trace of the previous mockery and contempt. Marin looked at the child in my arms, completely lost her mind. She rushed over excitedly, pointing at me. She screamed, "This is impossible. How could you possibly give birth to a phoenix? Did you steal my phoenix egg? It must be you. You person stole my phoenix egg." As she spoke, she reached out to snatch Kifu from my arms, her eyes full of madness and jealousy. Yuli saw this, immediately stood in front of me, protecting me, and Kifu behind him. He looked at Marin and shouted sternly, "Have you gone mad? The phoenix chooses its master, connected by blood and veins. How could it be stolen just like that? Even if the princess stole your egg, when the phoenix emerged, it would only recognize you and Qingshan as its parents. How could it be so affectionate toward the princess? Stop talking nonsense and throwing a tantrum. Marin and Qingshan, the couple, one more agitated than the other, one more frantic than the other. Qingshan also rushed over, pointing at me and Yuli. He said indignantly, "That's still not right. The two of you, one is a lowly black peacock, one bought from the black market. How could they possibly give birth to a phoenix? This completely defies common sense. There must be some trickery involved." Black Peacock, and hearing his words, the fire god Vermilion Bird grew intrigued. He walked up to me and Yuli, looking us up and down, his eyes full of curiosity. "You two, are you really a black peacock and a chicken? No matter how I look at it, I feel you two are not ordinary. Could you show me your true forms?" "Of course. I've been waiting for this day, waiting for this moment to prove my identity." I gently handed the blessing in my arms to Yuli, telling him to hold it tight, then looked up at everyone, my eyes filled with determination. Not only will I show my true form, but I'll also let everyone see what kind of peacock I really am. The words fell and I chanted the spell, a colorful light radiating all around me. Soon, I revealed my true form, a pitch-black peacock appeared before everyone. But when the sunlight fell on me, my feathers instantly burst into multicolored light: red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple. The 7 colors intertwined, dazzling and brilliant, more resplendent than green peacock feathers, more noble than purple peacock feathers. I circled twice in the air. Wherever my wings swept, a sky full of colorful clouds of breathtaking beauty. Then, I landed, slowly transforming back into human form. The moment I landed, I heard the fire god Vermilion Bird's voice full of praise. "You blind fools. This is no black peacock at all. This is clearly a 5-colored peacock. It is the legendary 5-colored peacock, more noble than the phoenix, the ancestor of all peacocks, the mother of 10,000 peacocks." As soon as these words were spoken, the entire crowd gasped in shock. The ancestral hall fell into silence once again. Everyone was stunned. Their faces filled with shock and disbelief. The way they looked at me turned from awe to utter reverence. I saw my father standing in the crowd, his face full of astonishment, his mouth wide enough to fit an apple, his eyes filled with regret and remorse. And Qingshan, standing still, his face pale, his face twisted with jealousy. He stared at me blankly, his eyes full of resentment and bitterness. He roared, "No. This is impossible. If you are a 5-colored peacock, why could you only give birth to white peacocks in your past life? Why could you only give birth to a lowly white peacock?" I looked at his frantic appearance, couldn't help but laughed with utmost mockery. "Qingshan, you don't know, do you? Actually, in my past life, what I gave birth to wasn't a white peacock at all, but a high-grade purple peacock. It's just because you tricked me into drinking the childbirth potion. The childbirth potion only has the effect of inducing eggs, but it changes the color of the eggs, causing a 5-colored peacock's egg to turn white. So, I ended up giving birth to a white egg, just like in this life. You made Marin take the childbirth potion. She was originally a blue peacock. The egg she laid should have been blue, but because of the childbirth potion, it turned into a golden egg, and finally hatched a black peacock with a broken leg." I paused for a moment, watching his face turn ashen. I continued, "Qingshan, you spent your whole life chasing power and status, obsessed with producing a purple peacock, desperate to claim the throne. But in the end, you never knew what you pushed away with your own hands was the very dark peacock you dreamed of, the very chance to ascend the throne. In this life, you ended up with nothing but empty hands, a complete and utter defeat." Qingshan completely broke down. He staggered back a few steps, collapsed to the ground, holding his head in his hands, letting out desperate, anguished roars. He remembered the past life, how he had ruthlessly struck at me and our child. He remembered this life, how he had devoted himself entirely to Marin, making things difficult for me at every turn. Only now did he realize what he had missed, what he had lost. The fire god, Vermilion Bird, walked up to me, looking at me, his eyes full of admiration and respect. He bowed slightly and said, "Lord Five-Colored Peacock, I never imagined that today I would be fortunate enough to meet the legendary Five-Colored Peacock. Truly an honor. I am commanded by the Heavenly Emperor to oversee all birds. Now that the phoenix has come into the world and the Five-Colored Peacock has appeared, the Peacock clan, and indeed the entire bird realm, will usher in a new era of glory. May I ask if Lord Five-Colored Peacock would be willing to ascend to the heavens with me to take a place among the immortals and enjoy eternal wealth and honor? Go to the heavens, take a place among the immortals." This was the dream of countless demon tribes, but I only glanced at Yuli by my side, took a look at the sleeping child in his arms. My heart filled with warmth and determination. Yuli and I had agreed that once the egg hatched, we would take our child and leave all this strife behind, find a place with beautiful mountains and clear waters, and fly far away together to live a simple yet happy life. Yuli seemed to read my thoughts. He gently patted my shoulder, handed Kifu to me, and said softly, "Princess, if you wish to go, then go ahead. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I will take good care of our child and wait for your return." His words moved me to tears instantly. I shook my head, held him and Kifu tightly, and said with a choked voice, "I won't abandon you too. The riches and honors of heaven, to me, are nothing but fleeting clouds. Having you and our child by my side is the greatest happiness in my life. I'm not going anywhere. I just want to be with you too and live an ordinary life." Seeing my resolve, the vermilion bird god of fire did not insist, but just shook his head with a smile and said, "Very well. Everyone has their own choice. Since the Five-Colored Peacock has chosen family, I won't force the matter." At that moment, the vermilion bird god of fire suddenly remembered something. He looked at Yuli and reminded him, "By the way, this young man, you haven't revealed your true form yet. I heard from Qingshan earlier that you were a chicken, but I can see that your aura is extraordinary. You are definitely not an ordinary chicken." Yuli looked troubled. He scratched his head and said a little sheepishly, "I don't think that's necessary. I really am just an ordinary colorful pheasant. I'm afraid that after revealing my true form, it might offend the fire god's eyes." "No, you don't seem like it." Fire god Vermilion Bird shook his head, his gaze firm. "Perhaps, like Lord Jiaha, you've just hidden your lineage without fully revealing it." Yuli's eyes lit up, filled with anticipation and curiosity. He looked at me, then at Fire god Vermilion Bird, and finally nodded. "All right, then I'll reveal my true form so the fire god can see." With that, Yuli, in front of everyone, chanted a spell. A faint, colorful glow emanated from his body. Soon, he revealed his true form. Just as he had said, he was merely an ordinary colorful pheasant with feathers of many colors, not large in size, looking quite ordinary, no different from any common pheasant. Seeing this, everyone showed expressions of disappointment. Qingshan even let out a cold laugh and said, "What's this? So, it really is just a chicken. So ugly that even the fire god can't stand it. Probably about to teach it a lesson." Fire god Vermilion Bird walked around Yuli's true form 2 times and pondered, "I understand." As soon as he finished speaking, the fire god gathered a fireball in his hand and landed it on Yuli. "Yuli!" I screamed and rushed over holding the child. Qingshan sneered coldly, "This chicken is so ugly even the fire god can't stand it and is going to teach it a lesson." Just as I reached the fireball, a clearer phoenix cry rang out. A giant phoenix rose from the flames reborn and burst straight through the roof. Compared to before, this phoenix cry was more prolonged and powerful. The pressure was overwhelming. Everyone knelt down again, unable even to lift their heads. I asked the fire god, "What is going on?" Yuli is very likely a phoenix from the ancient battle who survived with his pulse awakened but was suppressed by some force. All he needed was a little divine power to break through. No wonder Yuli said he felt like he had lived so long. No wonder he had no family. No wonder we could give birth to a phoenix. Just as I was still gazing up at Yuli's form, Qingshan rushed out from the side. He snatched the child from my arms and ran out frantically. The phoenix must be mine and the king of all birds must be mine, too. I gasped. My blessing. Qingshan hadn't run far before he was struck by a golden light. Yuli, holding the child, landed steadily in front of me. Not far away, Qingshan fell to the ground with a thud before he croaked. His last words were, "Do it again." There aren't that many do-overs. Yuli handed the child to me, turned and bowed to the fire god. Thank you for enlightening me. Haha, it was nothing. The fire god waved his hand. What an eye-opening day this is. Not only did I witness the birth of a new phoenix, I also saw an ancient phoenix. Most importantly, I saw the legendary five-colored peacock. After the fire god confirmed again that I wouldn't ascend to heaven, he bid us farewell. After the fire god left, Father came up. Jiaha, Father was blinded by greed back then, deceived by Marin and the others. His eyes were full of regret. After a long sigh, he asked, Father did it all for the prosperity of the Peacock clan. You will forgive Father, won't you? I stared at him for a long time. After a while, I said, the phoenix has come into the world. You are no longer the king of all birds. His mouth fell open. I added another sentence, nor are you my father anymore. According to the law, Yuli should succeed the throne. But he really had no interest in ruling the entire bird realm. After discussion, I ascended the throne. Yuli only needed to stay in the palace, teach my child Kifu to read and write. I lifted the restriction on my mother. The moment she learned the whole story, my mother cried like a child. She held my hand. Jiaha, you've suffered so much. It's all because I was ignorant. How could I ever blame you, Mother? All these years, she has been protecting me. I drove the former Peacock King away. I heard he wandered into the territory of the Black Peacocks because he had offended too many Black Peacocks before. Once he entered, he never came out again. Marin was punished for her crimes because from her former residence, many bodies were dug out of the old well. Her child didn't live many days. When he croaked, I breathed a sigh of relief. After all, without parents, living in this world is the hardest. The first thing I did after taking the throne was to abolish the inherent hierarchy. All peacocks in the world are the same, no longer judged as noble or lowly by color. Later on, Kifu gradually grew up. On his coronation day, I handed over the bird realm to him. After that, Yuli and I traveled far and wide, helped some people, and had quite a few little phoenixes. Yuli no longer had to be sad about not having a family, because I gave him many, many family members, including myself.